All right, so for this week's Zoom call, we wanted to talk about meal prep and kind of how you can go about maximizing the efficiency aspect of this. And really, for tonight, I'm just going to kind of be a bystander here, and I'm going to let Nicole take lead on this. Nicole's become an absolute rock star with meal prepping and coming up with some really good different recipes and really making it an efficient process for us. So, with that, I'm going to kind of let her take the reins here.
Sweet, thank you. First, let me start off by saying that I am not a registered dietitian or a nutritionist. So, none of this is meant to be macro based. None of this is meant to be a prescription of any kind. I kind of just want to give you guys some ideas and things that I do, one, to make this process more efficient, but just some recipes and things that I found that are really easy to kind of recycle throughout the week.
Because what does it all boil down to? It just
Time
becomes
management.
that, and then just the redundancy and uh, the opportunity to have decision, really, right? So, like,
Mhm.
if you don't have something that's pre-cut or done in advance and thoughtful, then you just go to the impulse, whimsical decision of either what's most convenient or whatever you're wanting in the moment, which typically isn't going to be the better
Mhm.
option. So, with the meal prep, we kind of
The,
eliminate that.
right. The big thing that I found is just the convenience of time, not having to think about what you're
Yeah.
going to do versus wondering or hoping you don't make the bad decision in that moment. But I meal prep during quarantine, and I did it because I knew it allowed us to be able to have exactly what we were going to have for lunch every single day. We didn't have to worry about what to do that day, take the time to then cook something. We could keep our days more efficient and continue to work knowing that we had all of that already taken care of. That's the biggest thing, is just knowing that it's not another time suck in your day-to-day life because you've already done the steps ahead of time to prepare for it.
Yeah, and so like that brings up two of the more like common questions, or I guess counterpoints, so to speak, on meal prepping. And the first one is that if you're going to meal prep, it has to be perfectly healthy food that's
Mhm.
weighed out, and it has to, you know,
Fit your
fit your macros or
macros.
whatever. And
Yep.
if you're one of those types of people or athletes, like that's cool. My
Mhm.
thing is if it works for you, don't change it. My suggestion would be to make sure that it's not overly dominant and overly governing within what you're doing and you're kind of religious to it. So I think with what Nicole does, it's a good example of how, like, yeah, it's healthier or it's a better option than Subway or fucking Chick-fil-A or whatever, right? Like, but it's still like good food. It's
Right.
not boiled chicken with no seasoning. Again, there's if you can do all that, more power to you. We're not against it, but personally, I'm not going to commit to anything that's overdone like that. And
Yeah.
she does great with making shit tasteful.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm in a unique situation. I'm not a competitive weightlifter anymore, so I'm not cutting for anything. So I'm not, you know,
You don't
overly
need to be a zealot.
obsessive
Yeah.
about trying to have things fit my macros, but I have plenty of athletes that need to, and that works for them, and they become stricter when it comes time and it gets closer to the meet, but to their meets. But really, this is about just making things easier for yourself
Yeah.
and just giving yourself the better option than fast food and constantly eating out, spending more money. That's the biggest thing.
And I think, yeah, we'll touch on the cost here in a
Yeah.
second, but I think the other thing, uh, to consider here too is like you don't want to just do the bare minimum like process for no reason.
Mhm.
If it's going to be a minimalist approach, you want to try to get the most out of it. And so, like for Nicole, she probably spends, I'd say on average, about 3 hours,
I've gotten it down to two. I'm proud of that.
two
I've
or
gotten it
three
down to
hours
two.
now. Maybe what started it like closer to 5 or 6. Um, and it sucked. It
Yeah.
sucks. And I'm speaking for her on that, obviously, but there is a little bit of a process to it. But my point is, if you're going to carve out the time to
Mhm.
do it right and do it in a way in which you will remain consistent with
Yeah.
it and it's sustainable, because otherwise you're going to go through the shit just to kind of do it or commit to it for a little while and then you'll pull back out of it.
Yeah.
So I think the efficiency factor is key. It has to be able to fit within your week. Everybody's busy. Everybody has a million things going on. So don't let time be an excuse. Just carve out this little block on Sunday, create a multitask pattern where it's a part of the routine that you have,
Mhm.
and then just make, things that you're going to actually enjoy and eat so they don't just sit in the fridge and go stale for you to throw out and then say, oh, meal prepping doesn't work for me. Like,
Yeah.
do it right and
Yeah.
do it to where you're going to eat it.
I had someone one time tell me that she just didn't want to meal prep. She wasn't going to do it because she didn't want to be at home cooking. And I was like, okay, I can't help you. But I thought to myself, I don't really want to do it either, but I do it and I make the time to do it to allow for that efficiency. That's really what it boils down to more than anything else. And the food that I make is delicious, so I want to eat it.
Yeah, so I was just getting ready to say, so we, for our breakfast for Monday, Wednesday, Fridays is some type of pancake. It's a protein pancake. She does either Kodiak cakes or this like pumpkin style pancake. I eat pumpkin pancakes and bacon 3 times a week for breakfast. Like, it's really difficult for me to find complaints, honestly. But pancakes and then either bacon, or she does turkey sausage.
Mhm.
And then on Tuesdays, Thursdays, we just do some type of, egg-based scrambled eggs or
Mhm.
hard-boiled eggs, and then either oatmeal or fruit or some
Yeah,
kind of
avocado,
carb or starch
yeah.
or fat. Yeah, we do avocados too now recently.
Mhm.
And then with the lunches, we kind of cycle through. You want to list them off?
Yeah. So right now our two lunches are my homemade burrito bowl and our air fryer chicken thighs. So with the homemade burrito bowl, it couldn't be any easier. Rice,
And
ground
we'll
beef.
post all the
Yeah, so I've got
how to get to
two
this shit.
articles on our blog that I'll put below links to that have a list of recipes, common ingredients that you should just keep in the house that you can always use to kind of switch and swap things out for different recipes and things like that. But yeah, our homemade burrito bowl is just white rice, ground beef, black beans, sauteed peppers, and shredded cheese thrown on top after it cools for a little bit, and then when you reheat it, the cheese melts and it's fucking delicious.
Yeah, it's my favorite.
Yeah, definitely. And then right now we're working through chicken thighs cooked in the air fryer, and then sweet potatoes baked in the oven. And then I literally just take a bag of frozen broccoli, pop it in the microwave to soften it up, season it, some salt, pepper, garlic powder, and there it is. Another big one that we loved for a while that we kind of switched through is ground turkey in a pasta salad. So I get just the box of pasta salad mix in the grocery store, cook that up as is in the box, add some ground turkey that I've seasoned with taco seasoning, and again, a frozen bag of mixed veggies, and dump it all into a container. That one's really good.
Yep.
We did a sausage and pasta with sauteed peppers for a while. That one was really good. There's always some type of protein, some type of carb or starch, and some type of vegetable. Those are the big things.
And I'm somebody who personally cannot eat leftovers. So like these pass my test. So they reheat well, they save well. Yeah. I just have like a little mini fridge, whatever, at work. I take all 4 in on Monday and then just bring home empty Tupperwares at the end of the week. And for the Tupperwares, go ahead.
For me, I don't have a mini fridge in my office or anything like that. So I bring, I found a lunchbox on Amazon. It was $14 and it literally fits my giant Tupperware. If it's a normal size Tupperware container that you would put a lunch in. But then I can also fit some other snacks in there as well. So I also bring a small Tupperware of cucumbers. I bring a Perfect Bar with me. I'll bring some type of huge on Perfect Bars. They're phenomenal. Shout out Cheryl. I'll also bring like some type of fruit. Like I was doing sliced apples and some peanut butter for a little while. And then there was a time where I was making like really small side salads in like smaller Tupperware containers. And I got an even smaller one to put a little bit of dressing in there so that way I could get some more veggies in. I find for me, I don't eat enough vegetables. So lunch is when I try to like pack a bunch of those kinds of snacks to just get some more in there along with dinner.
And so she's a kind of snack throughout the day and, kind of portion out throughout the course of the day. It's another common question we get, how many meals a day or what, nutrient timing and shit like that. But I'm actually the opposite. So I eat at 5 a.m. and then I eat my lunch usually around like 10 or 10:30 or 11 or so, and then I'll have a perfect bar and a protein shake at some points throughout the day. But really, I eat like 2,000 calories before 5 p.m. and then like 2,000 calories post 5 p.m. So from 5 to 9, I'll just gorge dinner and pretty much anything else that I can get my hands on. So
Yeah, and I'm like you said, I'm the opposite. I do breakfast. I usually have a perfect bar mid-morning, and then I'll have my lunch, and then I'll have a protein shake somewhere in there, depending on when I've lifted, and then another, snack before I get home, and then I'll have my dinner.
so the point there being like, and again, this isn't advice or
Right.
whatever. This
This
is
is what
just
works for us.
how it works. Um, but anyhow, I think that the most important thing with the whole diet and meal prep and nutrition thing is that you understand the extreme uniqueness and individuality to it.
Mhm.
I really don't take much into consideration with like broad stroke generalized nutrition because biochemistry is extremely complex and there's a lot of shit going on at all times. And there's just a lot of factors that are involved. So if you aren't in a position where you can talk directly with a nutritionist or dietitian, I would just encourage you to do some good formal research that you can understand, and kind of process things for yourself. Don't just blindly apply things. Technically speaking, what I do is considered to be incorrect or improper. So just take it all with a grain of salt here. But the meal prepping and the snacks, I think, again, consistency, habit, practice, preparation are all absolute factors there. And make sure it's things that you actually enjoy. Don't try to force yourself to eat a bunch of stuff that you know you're not going to commit to.
Mhm.
Make it realistic. And generally speaking, I just follow the 80-20 rule.
And seasoning is your friend. Like,
Yeah.
seasoning is not
Shout out to
the
Spencer.
yes, shout out to Vincent. I learned a lot from him. Salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, Italian seasoning blends, and a bunch of herb blends are phenomenal, and they go a long way. You will thank yourself later.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, and then one more thing I wanted to add. And so for dinners, we and we are not promoted or sponsored by them in any way, shape, or form, but they're too good not to share. We do the company HelloFresh.
Yep.
And yeah, how do you say it?
So HelloFresh, so we get 2 dinners a week. And roughly
we literally haven't had like a bad one.
No, they've been phenomenal. So every week you can actually do a couple ahead of time, but you can go on there and week to week you can select the 2 or 3 meals that you want for that week, and then you set it up whatever day you want it to be delivered. They'll bill you, they send it to you that week, and it comes with all of the ingredients already portioned out. The only things you ever need are salt, pepper, butter, and olive oil. They give you literally everything else. And they're phenomenal. They've got vegan options. They have vegetarian. They have everything: fish, chicken, steak, pasta, and it's all phenomenal. And it makes my life a hell of a lot easier because I hate having to think about what to make for dinner, and he hates me asking the question about what to make for dinner. So this solves both of those issues. Yep. So that's been awesome too.
So we'll post a whole bunch of links to this, and Rudy's saying our time is up here, so we'll post links to a bunch of this stuff, recipes, where to get stuff and whatnot. And then if anybody has any questions or anything on this, feel free to hit us up.
Night, guys.